So all right, this is the first time you brought up coffee. When did you start your relationship with coffee?
The cool thing, of course, in the 60s and stuff was San Francisco, Berkeley, or Santa Cruz, the coffee houses. So if you had a girl you were trying to impress, and what's one to do is you drink an espresso, right? And you listen to some politically progressive or environmentally correct, poets or something, to get I didn't play a guitar, like the girls weren't going to come out because I didn't play guitar, but so anyway, I worked in a brewery. I worked as a security guard for like 50 hours a week, and I just studied.
When you were at the
in Bible college, and they said you aren't supposed to work in a brewery; it's a bad witness. I said, hey, I can study, and where do you get this stuff in the Bible? Well, the other thing was like the Jan term came up there, and they had like 3 or 4 classes for the month of January, and I'm looking at this sheet, and the guy's there like my counselor. And I said, I came here to study the Bible. Like, what the hell is this? Like, this word, hermeneutics. I'm going like, I ain't as interested in Herman or whoever this is. I want to study the Word,
Yeah. Why am I exiting Jesus?
Yeah, right, exactly.
We're doing put Jesus into this stuff?
Yeah, right. Except the other one was like, exegesis. Like, what is this? Is this like a laxative or like something like I ain't interested in that, So I got in this work. So I started the food co-op, and then my roommates. We were in this summer camp, but we had a cabin. This was just really funny. One of my roommates was it was in the Dave Wilkerson thing.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Cross the Switchblade.
Cross the Switchblade. So anyway, he was a drug dealer thing in New York, and he actually his father owned a car body shop stuff. There's a lot of graft in the body shop business. And so when he became a Christian, Carmine was the guy that he talk about in a fight, like, we're going in there, I don't care about this, that if I have to take somebody out, take care of you, I'll watch your back. And I said, Carmine, anyway, he talked about like sticking his fingers behind the guys, like saying, I'll pull your eyes out if you don't say, yeah, give her, or I'm thinking like, I've never been around. But anyway, this guy was tough. But actually, the mob killed Carmine. But he did donate $1,000 to the Pilgrim Place, because he came out and believed in that. But he was exposing the insurance fraud or whatever kind of thing, and in New Jersey.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's like I had my best friend was my roommate, called and said he was in my wedding. Carmine. So he said they took him out, and what if we took him out?
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh dude.
So anyway, my other guy was this guy the other roommate was this guy that one of the other guys was a rock and roll guy. You couldn't listen to rock and roll music, and you couldn't do any of this devil music. So we had to burn our records. And yeah, it was like that's what you did. Yeah, and so we would get like all pressure, and we had this one heavy radio up in the camp, Bible college camp, and so we have this anxiety like for 10 minutes. I don't know how often we did it, but it was like we're gonna turn up loud and we're gonna have one song or something, and stuff, and we would like act out like God, put on who is it, whatever the rock and roll was, and so our roommate, who grew up in the church, had never been around anything outside of the church, would get under his bunk bed and he had a drape. We had these dormitory drapes, and he would pray for us because he thought that Ray, my roommate, was demon possessed. Like this thing would come over him, and like we were in this frenzy, this is in frenzy. And we go, it's just fucking rock and roll. It's not like there's no devil in here. I mean, like what is? But so we had this sort of thing, and anyway, so like Ray would like pray for us, and we were demon possessed, and we had to wear ties too to chapel. Every day you went to chapel.
Chapel every day.
Chapel, well, not but Saturday, I guess. So I had sweatshirts that I had painted or like a collar on with
With a tie.
and I had these little baby ties, little kids' ties and stuff. I had a big beard, so the tie, little bow tie being there. So the dean would always pull me aside like, hey, you're, write you up, as I go like, hey, it's a tie, like, that's not, what do you mean it's not a tie? You don't have like, I didn't see it, it has to be so long or so wide or, so we had this relationship and he was determined I was not going to graduate. I was not going to graduate. Well, then so one day, some of our roommates, we had this quiet day where, it was one of these like quiet days. Well, the deal was everybody had to volunteer to clean up trash around campus.
Okay.
Right, and we were on this hill.
It was a mission project. Yeah.
Mission. It was like free labor, but so then also to graduate, you had to have Christian service points. And so they wouldn't send me out to church Christian service because I had a beard.
Oh, okay.
Well, and some other things. And so, but they gave me Christian service appointment. I took all the pictures. I was a professional photographer.
You were a photographer.
So I took all the pictures for the yearbook and
Right.
and the faculty, the faculty and stuff. So they got, free photographs. So so one of my roommates were talking around one time like, this quiet day, like, Booge, we got to do something now. And I go, I got the urge to buzz the tower, like Top Gun. And they go like, buzz the tower? Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm a pilot, man, you know that. I said, well, you don't have an airplane. Well, go rent one. But we got to buzz the barn. They had the old outdoor revival barn on top of the hill.
Oh, that's
So they're like, wow, who's going to go, So we go to Perky Omenville. And this is the old days. It's not like now, like
Pre-9/11.
Homeland Security.
Yeah.
it's not pre-homeland like deal. And I'm there like, here's my license, here's my logbook, and this guy's got.
And you'd been flying for several years at that
I've
point.
been flying since I was 16, or 12 actually, but my. So I had passed a commercial even actually, but I so convinced this guy. We went out and did some air work and stuff. Great, signed me off. So it's like, wow, like hey, we got like, $20 to get some gas. And let's go visit the campus. So here it's this like quiet day and they're out there, everybody's like totally spiritual and like all of a sudden out of nowhere like right by the barn, like 20 feet off the ground, like the reservoir, back around this nice little placid lake and like right at the chapel, like boom, over like that, and they're like, whoa, this is the best fun we got, So we get back on campus and then the next day I get a call from the dean and he's like, boy, we got you this time, like blah, blah, blah. And I said, what do you mean you got me? And it's like, well, we know you did. And I said, like, what do you mean you did it? This plane, blah, blah. I said, oh, did you get the tail number? I said, you should report that. That's illegal, kind of thing. And so the dean was all like, well, I put on my application, hobbies flying or something.
Uh-huh.
That definitely,
Yeah,
like
nobody else.
I like to grill, so I burned the church down. Like what kind of deal is this? So he was like really into this and stuff. And so then of course the word gets out like, hey, you want to go booze? For like $20, we can rent this plane for half an hour, and who wants to go up? So we did these buzz jobs and so one of the professors basically, I went to Boston, and interesting in Virginia, the Patch Adams related thing, that was part of Church of the Savior.
In D.C.
In D.C. And so she took me to Church of the Savior, Potter's house, and that. And I was like, oh, this is cool, man. Books, coffee, everything, But the Bible college, this is liberal.
Right.
Visitors in God here, there's gay people, shit, they drink, alcohol, and so we. But anyway, she was part of the community. She's actually in the book, The Joyful. One of their books that Elizabeth O'Connor did on the community. She's in there, but they painted a lot of the. So I went to visit that, and we liked it, but it was not acceptable. It was liberal.
Right.
So I went to Boston to a friend told me. Oh, no, we bought all our books from like the Christian discount book kind of thing, but I mean, it's all the pastors, all the sets of books. So I had a bunch of New Testament, all the critical commentaries and all the right ones and kind of stuff. And, but this friend told me that his friend worked in Boston at a Logos bookstore.
Okay.
And they had like other stuff. So I went to Boston. I could fly because I got passes. My dad, I still got passes till I was 25. And so I went to the Logos bookstore in Boston, and this guy comes out, and he's got like, it was a toy store. You know, like, have you read this guy? I'm like, Bonhoeffer? And I'm like, where would I read? Who? You know, like, Cost of Discipleship. That's a great book.
Because Bonhoeffer wouldn't have been kosher at the Bible college.
No, and so I'm there like, hey man, I got a credit card. Like, I'm going to buy a lot of stuff here. So like, what else do you think? Well, have you read like Clarence Jordan? I'm going, I haven't read any of these guys. I mean, here I'm reading. Here's my list of stuff that's So, you ever read Charles Whittier? I go, no, look, this, if you like it, put it in the bag here. You know? I haven't read these guys. See, so then I go back to the Bible college, and I'm like at the brewery, you know, like 50 hours a week, and I'm just reading all this, you know, Dewey, Democracy and Education, Tillich, Merton. You know, I'm just like, my God, this is amazing. This is amazing stuff, you know. And so.
You were reading Tillich then?
Yeah, and dynamics of faith and so I'm writing a paper on this, and I get, you know, called in by, like, you know, this guy, you don't say this guy's basically a heretic.
Right.
You know, here's like the heretic list, you know, here's A, B, C, D, you know, like Bart, Bruner, Bultmann, whatever kind of thing. And I'm going like, have you read these guys? You know, like, well, no, well, okay, why are you saying you're saying they don't know Jesus? They don't make sense? You know, like, what's up with that? I mean, you're like, you get a bunch of
the dean of the school.
Well, yeah,
or the professor.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right, and the other thing is like you get these guys coming in like that are like, you know, overweight, and they're in there like, we want to pray for brother so and so, you know, like this and that, and this guy's like, he's eating himself into the grave. I mean, you notice all these things are happening. It's not because God doesn't like the assemblies or doesn't like these. I mean, these guys are like eating all this fat and this stuff, you know. I mean, it's bad. Like that's, well, you know, that's like a liberal. And I go, but anyway, so I had this food co-op that I brought these speakers in on nutrition, and I started this, you know, like raw food deal, and we had you know, juice, raw juice stuff that we distributed around. But anyway, so that was ticking them off. Back on the, so anyway, so after I read this, so this one professor that they had to have one guy to get accredited that taught a philosophy class.
Okay.
And I remember him having on his desk Encyclopedia of Philosophy. It was like this 4 volumes. I'm like, man, that's really cool. I'm going to get that. So he had borrowed it, like, oh man, that's great, man, you can read about. And so he said, and he golfed. Brother, I forget his name. Anyway, and that was a sin also. Golfing for some reason was like, you know, that was
indulgent behavior.
Indulgent behavior, yeah, that's it, exactly.
Right.
Indulgent behavior. And I'm going like,
Where's that in the Bible?
that's good, right? Isn't there like holy indulgence, or you know, it's like, you know, are we? Do they have to sell indulgences or whatever those are? Anyway, so Brother Rob, that was his name. You read Brother Rob, and he said like, you know, Dwayne, you know, you aren't going to be here very long. And reading the stuff that you're reading, question, you know, that Brother, oh God, forget the guy. Anyway, the dean, Hartwick. Brother Hartwick has a file like, you know, in Springfield. You'll never get a job in anything related to. And I go, well, that helps me, because I might, in an indecisive moment, like think I'm going to be an Assemblies of God minister or something, you know. But someday I'll come back, you know, I'll speak. And so it's like, but they said, you know, these guys you're reading and stuff and stuff like that, you know, I mean, well, he'd read something with C.S. Lewis, and he said, you know, in Wheaton, Illinois, there's a college that has a library, just about C.S. Lewis kind of thing. Really?
So this is the philosophy
professor, yeah.
who said you're not supposed to read this stuff, but
right. But he was kind of my he was kind of.
But he golfed, so
yeah, he was out of the box kind of guy.
Right.
And he could
out of the closet.
and he could talk philosophy a little bit. So he said, but it's a liberal place.
Wheaton was a liberal place.
Of course, it's a liberal place. So I said, well, shoot, man, I'm gonna go there like that. So I.
And had you ever heard of Wheaton?
No, I'd never heard of Wheaton.
Okay,
I never heard of Wheaton. So I could fly past stuff. So I got there, got to the airport there, took a bus out, walked over to Wheaton, walked in the Bible department. You know, and I'm looking pretty scruffy. And
this was 75, 70.
Into 74.
Into 74.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I walk into the Bible department,
Yeah.
and the first the first door that's open is Bob Weber.
Okay.
So Bob's there, like, again, if this is 40 years ago, Bob's like 35. He's not a young guy, right? And so he's there, like, hey, I've seen you around. Like, where are you from? And I said, place you never heard of. But I heard that this is a place like C.S. Lewis, and yeah, that's right. But we study more than that. I teach, philosophy, faith, and culture, and I teach ancient future kind of stuff. Well, that sounds cool, but I also want to study the Word. He's like, well, what do you men studying? What do you? And I told him, well, I was in this place, and he goes, oh yeah, man, I know about that. And I go, well, what do you mean you know about that? You're here. He said, no, I went to Bob Jones. And I go, what's that? So he said, well, I go, really? And he goes, my dad was saying we rode around Europe in a bus and stuff. And I go, really? Cool, man. He goes, yeah, like, what else are you doing? Like, we need a food co-op here. Like that. And so he says, I want you to meet some other people. So he said, what else you been reading? So I told him, and you're kidding, really? At the Bible college they read? And I go, no. No. And he goes, okay, well, that makes sense. So what do you really like? And so I started rattling off all these. I really like this guy and that guy. And he goes, well, I can see why they don't want you there. And so he said, well, you'd be really interested. You got to go to Arthur Holmes' class, and you got to go to Clyde Kilby's thing, because he's all about Lewis. And he's written this book on that. And I'm like, wow. So he makes this list of classes I should go to, and I was like, this is heaven. This is like Arthur, philosophy, faith, culture, and then and actually, Hegner was there.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, he was.
Before he went to Fuller?
Yeah, he was teaching a class on Judaism.
Okay.
Which I ended up reading Samuel Sandel, which is why I came to Cincinnati. He taught at Hebrew Union, and the Jewishness of Jesus and all that sort of stuff. So I made him talk about the Jewishness of Jesus. It makes sense. They didn't buy that at the Bible college, I bet. So then it was like with Bob, like, God, I can't believe this is like heaven, and I'm meeting all these like valedictorians and stuff, and I'm like, what's that?
Right.
And so then it's like, well, there's no way they're going to let me in here, especially if I get my transcript.
Right, your file.
Yeah,
Right,
my file. But anyway, so Bob said, no, you can get in here. We can get you in here.
So Bob got you in.
Yeah, well, he had a few other people, and I had a little interview with a group of, and they said, hey, we need, there's changing in culture and this sort of stuff, and we invite you to be part of this, and so first thing there, I just loved Wheaton, but I met my wife.
Yes. So you became a student at Wheaton.
Became a student.
In 75, and you met